Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and in the photo community lately, there's been a lot of talk about whether or not the Canon 6D Mark II has terrible dynamic range when compared to a crop sensor Canon 80D. Now, a lot of the websites out there fail to tell you is that where this is the case is at 100 ISO, at the base ISO. Yes, there may be a slight dynamic range difference between the full-frame 6D Mark II and a Canon 80D at 100 ISO, whereas the 80D may be, say, 10 stops of dynamic range. The 6D, which is full frame, has less at, say, around 9 stops. But is it that big of a deal is the question. What these sites have failed to really hammer home, other than the sensationalized titling, is that that's at 100 ISO. As soon as you get to 320 and beyond, the 6D Mark II is on par with the other full-frame cameras that Canon is making, which means, for the most part, it's on par with them, and it does a good job, a better job at higher ISO. And personally, I rather have a camera that is better at high ISOs with retaining that dynamic range than something that I worry about at just 100 ISO. So what I want to do here is show you sample files that we took, raw files that you can download yourself to play with in Lightroom to see how far you can push the dynamic range to see if you can really see a difference. So I'm going to spin around in a second, but I want to plug My Gear Vault. If you haven't checked it out yet, please go to mygearvault.com. It's available for iOS as well as Android right now, and it's free. It's the best way to input, organize, and protect your gear. And if you don't like it, delete it. It's free. So let's look at these images. First things first, we set up for Photo News Fix style because it's pretty good lighting, but we wanted to show you what it would look like at 100 ISO. So here's 100 ISO, and then let's move up. We went to 3200, 6400, 12,800, 25,600, and we topped it out at the 40,000, which is the native high resolution that this camera goes to. Now, when you look on the screen right here, you're gonna see noise. That's the nature of the beast. That's what happens when you zoom in 1:1. If you were to print this out, yes, you'd see some of the grain in the background, but again, pretty good lighting situation here. I just want you guys to go through, look at these images, see the difference with how you could process and edit them and see what you can bring back and how far you can push the shadows and still have it work out and look good. I mean, this one's at the 6400 and it's fine. Now, obviously, I just moved some buttons, but you can see it for yourself. You can play with these files, go download them, and mess with them to see if it really matters that the dynamic range may be less at 100 ISO compared to the 80D, but you're much better off at higher ISOs compared to that 80D. So let's keep moving on to the next thing right here. Kitty, get off my chair, buddy. You're going to scratch up the chair. Thank you. So I went outside and we found split lighting. We've got shadow to the left and we've got bright sun to the right. I exposed for the sky and wanted the bobblehead in the shadow. So we could do this, we could do this. Watch, we can go like this, we can go like this, less of this, a little bit of this. And look, you go download the file and you see what you can do for yourself. You tell me, or you tell yourself whether, I mean, literally, I just did 3 clicks of some buttons here, but you look, do the files look clean in the shadow areas? Does this file look much better than where it started? Because that's where the shadow area is and the highlights, and then boom, and then we bring it right back. So look at that, right? You can see that the shadow area was brought up and we're at that base 100 ISO. Is this good or is this not good? And I'm not comparing it to anything else because if this is the camera that you have, then this is the camera that you have. Tell me this doesn't work, and it doesn't work if that doesn't work for you. But that's just bringing it back a little bit. You can keep tweaking this, right? You can keep tweaking it. You can do whatever you guys need to do to play with it because you have the free reign to go play with these raw files. Same thing, I'll just literally copy this setting from here to here. Let's sync it up and let's go like this. And then I'm gonna bring it back just a little. I'm gonna cut back here because I didn't want to go that far. But that is very, you know, my eyes didn't see it like, well, actually the eyes were pretty close to seeing it just like this. So what is that? There's 8 files. There are 8 files for you guys to download and play with as raw DNGs. That is the determining factor whether something is good or not good for you. Real-world images. Now, these are just mostly snapshots, but I was trying to make a point as we work on making the real-world review of the Canon 6D where we take it into a real-world situation and put it through its paces. I just wanted to acknowledge that we have the camera, we have RAW files for you to play with, and a lot of websites out there have really hammered home that the ISO, the 100 ISO, it doesn't have good dynamic range when compared to, say, the crop sensor 80D, but in a real world situation, I don't really think you're going to miss very much there in terms of that. It's a trade-off. Should it be better at a lower ISO, at the same ISO than a crop sensor camera? Probably, but at higher ISOs, you are better with this full frame camera. Let me know what you guys think. You can download those files for yourself, try them out, let me know what you think. And again, don't forget, download My Gear Vault. It's free. Input, organize, protect your gear so you know what you have and what it's worth. iOS and Android. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.
Subscribe now!